What is going on? This is the Too Tall Sports Podcast. Glad to have you in today. If you are watching me on YouTube, you'll notice I'm wearing my Vince Scully shirt, the ode to the famous, legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster Vince Scully for the Dodgers. I'm also wearing my Dodger hat because I'm recording this on Tuesday night, right after the Dodgers' huge comeback win against the Atlanta Braves. I don't want to temper my expectations here because I know there's a game Wednesday and Thursday, so I got to be careful about my excitement level because these games haven't happened yet. So if it all goes bad, I guess shame on me. If it all goes great, we're hyped. Let's go. So I do want to, of course, I don't want to go too much on the Dodgers here. So I'd rather get to some other things because I don't know what the outcome is going to be for the podcast. But I'm super hyped. Still not sure about Dave Roberts and what his whole deal is with moving guys to positions that they don't normally play. The overmanagement of Julio Urias, the pitcher that won 20 games this year as a starter, and all of a sudden we're going to put him in a high leverage situation in game 2 in the 8th inning in between starts. I don't get it. He's not used to that situation. We have a great bullpen. Why are we forcing starters into high leverage reliever situations? Dave Roberts used to do this with Clayton Kershaw, and it would mess him up, and he would get hit around as a reliever for the most part. So I hope we don't fall into that trap of Dave Roberts loving and trusting guys too much to the point where we have to pitch them every single game in some capacity, bringing starters as relievers. And I don't want to hear about, well, they use an opener, the reliever that starts the game, then Urias can come in the 3rd inning and do his start. That's a lot different, giving Urias innings to work with. And if he struggles in his 1st inning, then we have then we have time to come back in the game. If you put him in the 8th inning, he doesn't have time to settle in as a starter. There's a different mentality as a reliever versus a starter. As a starter, it's a stamina endurance game. You need to give the club 6-7 innings, hopefully, as a starter. As a reliever, you might get one, maybe now the rule is 3 hitters. You got 1 inning to blow the doors off. Starters aren't used to that. And I know Urias did it in the playoffs last year, but he didn't throw like he did this year and win 20 games and be a full-time starter this year. So don't want to go too much into that, but got to give you a little bit because I hate the overmanagement of baseball. It just bothers me. But anyways, hopefully Dave Roberts doesn't do that the rest of the series, and hopefully the Dodgers win the World Series and we can all be happy about it. But excuse me. Anyways, I did want to get to something big that happened. Speaking of Major League Baseball, a ruling finally came down, and I don't know if you guys have seen my videos I've done on social media about this. Check me out at Too Tall Sports Podcast. I did some videos recently about this. Major League Baseball has finally approved to pay for housing for minor league players during the season. I know it might not seem like much to those of you on the outside that don't understand the struggle of minor league baseball. But if you do know me and you know my story, and any minor leaguer story for that matter, we get paid. And I say I retired in 2014, but it was even worse then. We get paid less than minimum wage to be a professional athlete and only get paid that less than minimum wage during the 6-month season. 6 months out of the other part of the year, we are not getting paid by Major League Baseball. So that's why guys get jobs in the offseason. That's why you see dudes living in their car and driving Uber in the offseason. These are professional athletes that are struggling to get by. And there's so many levels to get through because baseball is ridiculous and they make you climb all these ladders to get up to the big leagues. And they sell you on the idea that you're going to you'll make your money in the big leagues. Well, yeah. What is it? 10% of the 2% actually make it that are actually from high school and college into the minors that actually get through the system all the way through to the big leagues. Most guys don't make it. So finally, Major League Baseball said, okay, we will pay for housing for the players. Now, mind you, this doesn't fix the pay, okay? I saw some numbers on this on Twitter. A guy in AAA who hasn't had any big league experience yet or gotten called up yet is making $14,000 a year playing professional baseball in AAA, which is the highest level of the minors before getting up to the majors. You've made it through all the shit to get up to AAA, one call away from the big leagues, and you're making $14,000 a year. I don't get that. How can you treat your organizational players like that? And you expect them to perform every night when you're feeding them like crap in crap hotels, bus trips all around the country, and flying all over the place, 6 a.m. flights all the time. And a lot of people, I know there's some people out there, I know they're out there. They might say, oh, you're bitching. You used to be an athlete. and you get to play a game for a living. Well, guess what? How happy would you be playing a game for a living with no job security? You don't know if you're going to make a team the following year. You have no allegiance. That team has no allegiance to you every single year. You could get cut at any time, traded, released, sent down anytime. And you're making less than minimum wage, but you got to spend 10 plus hours a day at the field during the season. Barely any days off. You signing up for that with no guarantees of making it to the big leagues? Highly unlikely that you'll make it. There's no upside. So take care of your guys. And especially if you want them to perform better at the big league level, once you call them up, you need to pay them better and treat them better and feed them better. So this is a start. And I don't know if you guys listened, it might've been still in season 1, could be season 2, but I had, I forgot his name. Jeremy Wolf on. Jeremy Wolf I had on. He works with More Than Baseball. And they are one of those organizations. There's another one called Advocates for Minor Leaguers, but More Than Baseball is all about taking care of minor leaguers that are struggling to make it in life. And this is a start. And these are where these organizations are starting to go. And this is a start to getting minor leaguers better accommodations, better pay, better everything. So it was finally ruled upon that Major League Baseball is going to pay for housing. It's forcing the clubs to pay for housing. There's so much money in the big leagues. I mean, it's ungodly, so much money in the big leagues, and there's no money in the minors. The only time you make decent money is, like I mentioned, guys that have gotten called up at least for a little bit, and they go back down to the minors. Now your pay scale goes up because you have Major League service time. So you get paid on a higher number because you have Major League service time, depending on how many days you were up there. But even if you go up for one day on the roster during a big league season, your pay goes up by a lot. And now you're making 70, 80 grand, which is exactly what these guys should be making in AAA. Remember, we're not talking about rookie ball. We're talking about AAA, guys that are close to the big leagues. They should be making 70 to 80 grand at that level of baseball. I mean, these are some of the best players in the world, and you're paying them peanuts. I didn't even mention the lower level minor league guys. They're making less than 12, maybe 10 grand a year that are with a mountain to climb to get to the big league. So if you can tell I'm passionate about this, I am, because baseball is so slow to react. It took them so long to figure this out. You should be paying for guys housing when you're paying them less than minimum wage to play baseball for a living, and you're not paying them anything in the offseason. But you're expected to show up ready to go in spring training. So you have to spend your off-season training, and you can't just show up out of shape to spring training and expect to make a team. It's a year-round gig now. So happy to see that. It's a start. It's definitely in the right direction. Hopefully baseball can move a little quicker, because as you know, with the 4 major sports, they're the slowest to move on everything, whether it's replay, whether it's umpire help, or referees in other leagues and stuff like that. Baseball is the slowest to move because it's a traditional purist sport. Some of it I like, that's traditional. Other parts of it, we got to get with the times here. Okay. We got to get with the times. Anyways, that's my 2 cents today. I had so much more to talk about, but I decided to go off on that. A lot of football takes, but anyway, yeah, other than that, Arizona Cardinals look great. Kansas City's back on track. We'll see what happens with them. Cowboys look really good. Dak's a little banged up, I think, but they get a bye this week. So Chargers took a step back. Tough game at Baltimore. East Coast game. West Coast team traveling to play a 10 a.m. West Coast time game. Really, it's 1 over there. Their bodies aren't ready. Their clock's not there yet. So anyway, tough game for the Chargers. Rams get back on track. So good football weekend. Of course, college football. Purdue beats Iowa. So now the top 4 is all messed up again. Alabama's in the top 4. Anyway, lots to talk about there. I'll be making videos all week on my social media at Too Tall Sports Podcast. Follow me there. My interview today is with Chris Kalk. He is a former walk-on wide receiver at USC, and we talk a lot about Clay Helton and all that stuff that went down, who he thinks should come in to coach the team now, what it was like to be a player at SC and go there. And he had a crazy story of his high school injuries and junior college injuries, but he still made it on to USC. Didn't actually play there, but he was a walk-on. So cool episode with Chris, and a very inspirational story. So I think it's worth listening to. But anyways, after this word from our sponsor, you will get my interview with Chris Kalk. I'll see you on the other side.